Hello everyone, and welcome to Chiikawa Audio. I hope you enjoy the story. My twin sister and I are the mythical Yin-yang twins. The uglier I was, the prettier she became. The worse I performed in school, the better she excelled in exams. The weaker my body became, the healthier she grew, a perfect balance, one rising as the other fell. Our parents, originally a couple of humble villagers, decided to sacrifice me to fully nurture a phoenix. Annie's shriek rang out, and the bottle of toner in my hand crashed to the floor, shattering. Annie stormed out, crying to Mom who had just arrived. That wicked person secretly used my toner. Mom, look, is my face bumpy? Mom tenderly caressed Annie's cheek, repeatedly blowing on it. Are you okay, my love? Annie turned and pointed directly at me, her eyes fierce. It's all because of that ugly girl. Mom's eyes shifted towards me, seeing the shattered toner bottle on the floor. Her expression immediately changed. She rushed over, grabbed my ear, and dragged me out the door. How many times have I told you? How dare you steal your sister's skincare products? Do you want to harm your sister? I bit my lip and said nothing. She angrily poked me several times and made me stand as punishment under the scorching midday sun. From the room, Annie's joyful shouts echoed. Oh, Mom, do I look whiter now? People always said my twin sister, Annie, was beautiful beyond belief. Her skin was as white as snow, her figure slender and tall, and her academic performance outstanding. As for me, my skin was dark, my body plump, and I had dropped out of school midway. Damn it, did I want to be like this? From childhood, our parents always told outsiders that I was a relative's child from the countryside. But deep down, Annie and I were still as alike as two drops of water. It wasn't until we were 2 years old that a Taoist priest passing by our gate asked for a bowl of water. At that time, Annie and I were playing Oh and Quan on the porch and he saw us. His eyes widened as he looked at us. Are you two twins? Mom smiled and replied, yes, they are. The Taoist priest clapped his hands and exclaimed, these are no ordinary twins. These are Yin-yang twins, rarely seen in 100 years. Yin-yang fetuses, one weak and one flourishing. That's what you call Yin-yang twins. The stories of Annie's and my growth from childhood proved that prophecy. One was frail, the other strong as an ox. One gained weight, the other became emaciated. One's academic performance plummeted, while the other's achievements soared like a shooting star. It was truly strange, but it was this strangeness that pushed me into the abyss. My parents were vain and loved to show off. When they saw other people's children intelligent and clever, while their 2 daughters were ordinary, they were both angry and envious. When we were 5, they made a decision. They decided to sacrifice one child and devote all their efforts to nurturing a phoenix. And I, Anna, was that sacrifice. To maintain Annie's beautiful skin, every day I had to expose myself to the scorching sun. These past few days, my face felt like it was on fire, unbearable. I secretly used a little rosewater to soothe the pain. Unexpectedly, Annie discovered it, my vision darkened, and my whole body swayed from sunstroke. Just as I was about to collapse, the sound of the door opening echoed behind me. Hey, you ugly brute, come eat! Annie yelled. I sighed in relief and staggered back into the house. The dining table was already set with a huge bowl of rice, like pig feed. They made me eat it all just so Annie could maintain her slender figure. They wanted to put Annie into the entertainment industry, hoping she would become a famous star. Tomorrow was Annie's mock exam. I heard a training school was coming to recruit directly. The whole family gathered around her, asking questions and preparing everything. I quietly washed dishes in the kitchen like an invisible person. As night fell, Annie's face suddenly turned pale. She frowned and grumbled at Mom, it's all your fault for forcing me to eat ice cream this afternoon. Now I feel so uncomfortable. I have an exam tomorrow. If I don't do well because of a fever, I'll drop out of school. Mom coaxed while searching for medicine. Dad came home from work, looking bewildered at the scene. What's going on? Mom explained that Annie had a slight fever, fearing it would affect tomorrow's exam. Dad frowned in thought, then suddenly clapped his thigh. Why complicate things? Don't we have a miracle cure right here? His gaze turned towards me, and the entire family simultaneously looked directly at me. I recoiled, my heart pounding. Mom, let go of me. I screamed in panic, but Mom's hand still gripped tightly, not letting go. She pushed me into the bathtub, letting cold water pour over my head, then turned to yell at Dad, "Buy some ice and put it on her. This kid's physique is already good, how can she get sick without cold ice?" They wanted to use my sickness to gain health for Annie. I struggled, tears streaming down my face. Mom nonchalantly comforted me. "You're her sister, what's wrong with helping her a little? When she becomes a star and makes a lot of money, won't you benefit from it too?" No, damn it, I'm not stupid enough not to know how strict the entertainment industry is about appearance. If Annie really entered the entertainment industry, I would suffer 1,000,000 times more. Freezing ice cubes poured down, my face turned pale, my whole body trembled. My parents tied me up in the bathtub. I don't know how long after, I heard Annie's voice. "Oh, I think my fever is gone." The next morning, they took Annie to the exam site. I was bedridden with a severe cold. In my delirium, I heard a knock on the window. My room was in the basement, with a window half submerged in the ground. The children often came here to play. I opened my eyes and saw Kim from next door. She tapped on the glass and called, "Sister Anna, what's wrong?" I struggled to sit up and opened the window. "I'm sick, I can't play with you today." Kim sadly turned away. I waited, but she didn't come back. I was about to close the door when I heard footsteps. Kim ran back, carrying a bunch of medicine. I stole it from my house's medicine cabinet. "Sister, see if anything can be used." I wished them a good day. My heart warmed, and my eyes were already red. Because of my ugly appearance, no one in this neighborhood cared about me, only Kim considered me a friend. I whispered, "Thank you, dear." After talking for a while, Kim stood up and looked around. I wondered, what's wrong? The little girl squatted down and whispered, "My mom said there are human traffickers nearby lately, and she forbade me from playing out for too long. Sister Anna, I have to go home." I forced a smile. "Yes, go home, be careful." The basement fell silent after Kim left. Looking at the small window, my heart churned with her words. Human traffickers? They must like beautiful young girls. A bold idea flashed in my mind. "Heh, you won't escape, you bitch." It wasn't until after 9 p.m. that my parents and Annie returned. The whole family was laughing and talking boisterously, the scene unusually harmonious. Mom knocked on my room door. Under the dim yellow light, her face showed a rare trace of tenderness. "Here's the food I bought for you." She handed me a large bag of food from KFC. I stared blankly at the unexpected gift, filled with doubt. Mom smiled brightly. "Your sister has been accepted by several art schools. She'll be a star in the future." My hands gripped the bag of food. I bowed my head, unsure how to react. It had been so many years since Mom had spoken to me with such tenderness. Seeing my silence, Mom's smile slowly faded. Her hand, raised to stroke my head, suddenly changed direction mid-air, gently patting my shoulder. "Anna, your sister wouldn't be where she is today without your great contribution. You've suffered these past few years." Mom kept asking about my health, whether my illness had gotten better, whether I was hungry. I just stared straight ahead, my face expressionless like a wooden statue. Soon after, Mom left with a few perfunctory words. The sound of their happy laughter from upstairs constricted my chest. That's the reality. Holding the KFC bag, I sat numbly on the bed, looking at the flickering desk lamp in the empty room. Late at night, the churning pain in my stomach intensified. Stepping lightly out of the room, I suddenly stopped before the light streaming from Annie's room. A soft voice rose from behind the door. "Mom, this afternoon, when you were talking to Sister Anna, I heard everything. You don't love me anymore, you've started loving her instead, right? The familiar sharp tone made the corner of my eye twitch. Love? Was that leftover food called love? Mom's voice was softer than ever. Annie, how could you think that? You're the one I love most. This afternoon, while waiting for you at school, I heard some parents say that to be an actress, you need flawless skin, square shoulders, and a slender waist. If you want to be famous later, you have to be even more beautiful. Each explanation was like a knife carving into my heart. Mom is holding Anna back for you. If she runs away from home, what will become of your future? Annie was startled. That's right, Mom said I mustn't let her leave, I must keep her here. Mom's voice was filled with schadenfreude. That's why I had to coax her. Don't you see her face is swollen like a pig's head? That greasy hair, I'm afraid to touch it for fear of getting dirty. Annie's sneer echoed, and my whole body trembled. Clinging to the cold wall, I dragged my heavy steps back to the damp basement. Lying down on the narrow bed, my thoughts suddenly became unusually clear. A ripe decision formed in my heart. You don't want me to leave? Then Annie just has to disappear. On the 13th day of wandering aimlessly in town, I finally met the human traffickers Kim had mentioned. A woman stood in the middle of the street, scouting for targets. I unexpectedly bumped into her. She started, looked up at me with fear, and when she clearly saw my face, a look of disgust flashed and quickly disappeared. I pretended not to notice, crouched down, and burst into tears. My crying attracted the attention of many people around. The woman panicked and quickly walked away. I immediately grabbed her pant leg, sobbing as I asked, Auntie, please tell me the truth, am I really that ugly? She twitched her leg, unable to break free, and forced a smile, You're very pretty, dear. I have something to do, don't hold me back anymore, I cried louder. You're lying. No one ever praised me for being beautiful. Everyone only praised Annie for being beautiful and cute. She staggered and fell to the ground, her face blank. Just as she was about to yell, I held out a picture in front of her. Look at my sister, isn't she prettier than me? But we're clearly twins. Her eyes fixed on the picture, then suddenly lit up. Little one, is this your sister? I nodded, and her attitude immediately became gentle as a spring breeze. Where do you live? I pointed straight ahead, past that intersection. There's a row of self-built houses. She transformed into a friendly older sister, both comforting and skillfully probing for information. She was trying to find out about my sister, Annie. Since childhood, everyone liked her more. She was beautiful, and all the boys in her class secretly admired her. But they didn't know that every afternoon, she went to the lake to meet the cool guy from her school. She had a boyfriend for a long time. Why? Why did no one love me? Seeing that she had gathered enough information, she impatiently stood up. I still have things to do, I'll go first. Watching her hurried figure disappear, I indifferently wiped away my tears. When I returned home, as soon as I pushed the door open, Mom rushed towards me, her face stern. Where have you been? I shrank back. I went to play with Kim. Mom glared. From now on, you must ask your parents for permission before leaving the house. I nodded. Yes, I know. They were afraid I would quietly disappear. They were afraid the source of a medicine for their other daughter would run out. Ugh, it's truly sickening. Annie, dressed glamorously, walked past, wrinkling her nose and covering it. Rarely, I called her back. Where are you going? She looked surprised, then sneered dismissively. What does it have to do with you? Mom twisted my arm. Your sister is going to a class party. Later, she'll be a big star, and many friends are fawning over her. Get out of the way, don't touch her, smell how smelly you are, don't contaminate her. Annie sneered coldly and walked out of the house with her bag. I guessed it wasn't just a class party, she also had a date with her boyfriend at the lake. His family was a famous wealthy family in the area. Before becoming a star, she had to hold on to the guy. But now things were different, she was about to change her life, so this relationship would become a stain. She had to break up quickly. Annie went missing. The whole family searched from midnight until dawn but couldn't find a trace of her. Her boyfriend's face was pale and trembling. We broke up by the lake. I saw her go home with my own eyes. How could she just disappear? Mom cried until she fainted, and immediately went to the police station to report it. Since Annie was under 18, the police quickly took up the case. But after several days, searches still yielded no clues. Annie had disappeared from the town as if she had never existed. Of course, they couldn't find Annie. The human traffickers, after capturing Annie, must have fled far away. Because Annie alone was worth 10 times more than an ordinary person. By now, they must have escaped into some deep mountain. I looked down at my arm. On my smooth skin, there used to be a long scar, but this morning, the scar had disappeared. The corner of my mouth curved slightly. It seemed my dear sister had been beaten, hadn't she? For half a month while Annie was missing, Mom and Dad were only focused on finding her, no longer having the mind to supervise me. They didn't care if I ate enough meals or if I sunbathed on time. They just wanted to find their carefully polished precious gem. Thanks to that, I gained some rare freedom. I secretly started losing weight and took care of my skin in secret. Before, I was tortured too harshly. Now, just with light exercise and basic skincare, my appearance had changed significantly. That afternoon, while playing with Kim, the little girl rested her chin on her hands, her eyes wide. "Oh, Sister Anna, you're so pretty." Her innocent words accidentally reached Mom's ears as she returned. She turned to look at me, her face haggard. It seemed there was still no news about Annie today. Mom's eyes fixed on my face, and after a second, her expression changed. She roared, "Get in here immediately." I bowed my head and followed her into the room, unable to avoid the stinging slap. "What kind of devilish stuff did you put on your face?" My hair was pulled violently. "You haven't been eating properly these past few days. You haven't been sunbathing, have you? That girl must come back. If you dare to ruin her, don't blame me." I clutched my red cheek, looking up with a sneer. She was startled. "What are you laughing at?" "I'm thinking, what if she doesn't come back?" My mother froze, her hand dropping limply. She had been thinking about this for several sleepless nights. If Annie went missing, years of effort would be wasted. "What if she doesn't come back? Can you recognize me, Mom?" I clutched her hand and knelt down. "Mom, I'm your daughter too. Whatever she can do, I can do too. If she becomes a star, I can too. Look, I've only taken a little care of myself and I'm already different. I'll be even more beautiful. Mom, I can be filial to you in her place. I wish you all a good day." My voice choked, tears streamed down my face, and Mom's hand twitched as if electrocuted. She staggered back to her room. Let me think about it." Looking at her more stooped back, I slowly stood up. I was sure she would agree. Because now, I was her last resort. For several days straight, I saw the lights in my parents' room still on late into the night. They were discussing. They were torn between finding Annie and nurturing a new golden girl. On the fourth morning, Mom knocked on my room door. "Anna, from now on, we won't live in the basement anymore. I've cleaned up the upstairs room for you." Look, just 20 days after Annie disappeared, Mom had given up on her. And chose me instead. How touching was this deep, blind love? I smiled. "Thank you, Mom." Stepping upstairs, the dining table was already set with eggs and fresh milk, no longer the greasy rice mixed with lard from before. This was the breakfast Mom prepared for me. Mom walked behind me, her voice sweet. "Anna, I'll make a healthy meal plan for you, okay? From now on, we'll follow this menu. I also bought you a high-end skincare set, remember to use it diligently morning and night. After you eat, Mom will take you to the spa for a facial. Your skin is naturally beautiful, so it will surely become beautiful quickly. And this messy hair, let Mom take you to get it done." As she was speaking, Dad came home and saw me. He was startled but immediately composed himself. Dad smiled and approached, like a truly exemplary father. "Anna is looking beautiful now. Daughter, Dad has hired a fitness trainer, and he said you can lose 20 kilograms in a month." I slowly ate the last bite, then looked up and smiled at them. "Thank you, Mom and Dad." So, this was the treatment Annie always received. It didn't feel bad at all. When my weight dropped to 55 kilograms, my parents moved. They announced to outsiders that Annie had been found but was traumatized and needed a change of environment to recover. Because my appearance was increasingly different, they decided to have me replace Annie in school. After all, Annie had many university admission certificates. These resources couldn't be wasted. I simultaneously lost weight, took care of my skin, and studied culture day and night. Before, thanks to me, Annie got everything without effort. Now, I could only rely on myself, but so what? I didn't feel dissatisfied at all. Compared to my previous life, this was truly heaven. I diligently studied, constantly improving myself. This continuous transformation brought me pleasure. A year later, I caught up with my studies. Although my academic performance wasn't outstanding, for a gifted student, it was enough. My weight dropped to 47 kilograms, and my appearance changed dramatically. Mom stroked my cheek tenderly, "So pretty, truly pretty. Anna, you're even prettier than your sister now." Now, I had become the treasure my parents cherished and pampered. From now on, I would live Annie's life. Finally it was my turn to rise. I replaced Annie and enrolled in the most prestigious art school in the country. In my second year of university, a famous director personally chose me to star in the political historical drama East Wind. The film's release caused a sensation, winning countless awards. I, as the lead actress, also became famous. The media voted me one of the most promising young actresses of the year. I was only 20 years old then. My mother was so happy she burst into tears, hugging me tightly and sobbing. "My good daughter, my hard work raising you was not in vain. You will definitely become a big star in the future. Mom has sacrificed so much, don't forget Mom." I gently patted her shoulder, my voice soft. "Of course, I will definitely be filial to Mom." By the time I graduated from my fourth year, I had become one of the most popular idols in the entertainment industry. Advertising contracts continuously came my way, and my parents also moved into a luxurious villa with me. For Mom's 45th birthday, I gave her a surprising gift. I brought Annie back. All these years, I had never given up on finding Annie. After all, she was my twin sister. When Annie appeared in the house, my mother almost fainted from shock. My father was also stunned, unable to utter a word. The Annie before them was completely different from the image in their memories. She stood there, trembling, her skin rough, her body obese, her hair messy. At just over 20 years old, she looked like a middle-aged woman. This appearance was exactly like mine before. Although Annie recognized her family, she excitedly rushed to hug Mom. "Mom, it's Annie, do you still remember me? Why didn't you look for me all these years? Why did you abandon me? Dad, don't you recognize me either?" My mother regained her composure and looked at Annie's face with a complex expression. She patted her back gently. "Where have you been all these years?" Annie heard that and began to scream hysterically. "I was kidnapped. They forced me to marry an old bachelor. He beat and cursed me. He made me give birth to a bunch of children for him." My mother, at this point, didn't have the patience to listen to her complaints, and cut her off after a few sentences. "It's good that you're back, it's good that you're back. From now on, stay home and diligently help your sister. She's famous now, she's a big star." Annie froze, stiffening, then turned her head to look at me, standing at the door. It seemed only then did she recognize me. I took off my sunglasses and stepped closer. In her bewildered gaze, I hugged her. "Sister, welcome back." Annie let me hug her. 3 seconds later, she violently pushed me away. "Anna, you're that fat pig, Anna." She looked at me, shocked, her eyes scanning my entire body before she shrieked, "You're the one who harmed me. You made me fat and ugly, it's all your fault." She turned and yelled at Mom, "Mom, quickly help me go back to how I was before. Make Anna eat a lot, sunbathe until she's ugly and fat." My mother's face changed color, and she shouted loudly, "What nonsense are you talking about? This is your sister." Dad also pulled her away. "Now the whole family is well off, you can rest assured and stay here. From now on, you must listen to your sister." Annie looked at them and gradually understood. "You abandoned me to choose her." Annie went crazy, wanting to rush forward and hit me, but before she could touch me, she was restrained by our parents. My mother looked at me with a fawning smile. "Anna, don't worry, we won't let her harm you. Now that she's back, you will definitely be even more beautiful." The implication was clear. She intended to use Annie as a tonic to nourish me, sacrificing her to achieve my success, just as they had sacrificed me to achieve hers before. Annie froze, looking at her in shock. "Mom, what are you saying? I'm Annie. You once said you loved me the most. Dad, don't you love me anymore either?" I looked at her and only felt pity. "You fool, the only thing they love is themselves, you don't need to." I refused Mom's offer. "What I want, I will achieve myself. A slender figure, a beautiful appearance, I will create them myself. A good script, good resources, I will also fight for them myself." I pointed towards Annie, "Mom and Dad, just take good care of my sister." Having said that, I turned and left the house. My family and I no longer lived together. I had my own place. Living with them only made me feel nauseous. My work was extremely busy. I basically only came home once a week. That evening, as soon as I arrived at the gate, I saw someone squatting in front of the door. It was my mother. When she saw me, she quickly walked over. "Anna, just finished work?" I nodded. "Is something wrong?" She smiled awkwardly. Nothing. Mom was afraid you wouldn't be used to eating out, so I made some small dishes to bring over." I glanced at the box in her hand. "Thank you, Mom." Her smile widened. I then added, "But lately I've been losing weight, and I'm on a strict diet. I can't eat these things." As I spoke, I opened the door and walked in. Mom followed behind, standing timidly at the door. It's okay. I'll take them back for Annie to eat." After saying that, she carefully added, "She's gained a bit of weight lately." I mumbled in response. I could feel her trying to flatter me. After all, I was now the family's financial backbone. They relied on me to change their lives. My mother began to show a casual interest. "Are you busy lately? Is there a new movie coming up? I'm free these days. Tomorrow I'm auditioning. If I get the role, I'll start filming at the end of the year." Mom smiled brightly. "Anna is so talented. Much more talented than Annie." I stood in front of the dressing table, removing my makeup and frowning. "Oh." Mom quickly asked, "What's wrong?" I looked at the left half of my face in the mirror and casually replied, "Suddenly got a pimple. Hope it doesn't affect tomorrow's audition." Mom heard that and panicked. "What?" She strained her eyes, looking at my face, a worried expression. I casually avoided her hand. "It's nothing, small matter." I pulled a bank card from my pocket. "Mom, from now on, I'll transfer living expenses to this card. Everyone can use it as they wish." My mother excitedly took it. "Thank you, Anna." After receiving the card, she didn't linger. Before leaving, she happily told me, "Anna, don't worry, that pimple on your face will be gone soon. I won't let it affect your audition tomorrow." After Mom left, I closed the door. After my personal hygiene, I lay on the bed and opened my phone to check the house camera. Mom said Annie had gained weight recently, and she was showing off her work to me. Annie was still being treated as a medicinal ingredient to cure me. Tonight, Mom would surely use this medicine to treat my illness. In the surveillance video, as soon as Mom returned home, Dad quickly sat up from the sofa. How was it? Did she give you the money? Mom pulled out the card. I'll go to the bank tomorrow to check the balance. Dad smirked. Anna is really talented. Oh, listen. Mom lowered her voice and whispered in Dad's ear, her eyes glancing towards the room at the end of the hallway. A moment later, Mom walked to the door and knocked. Annie opened the door. A scream echoed from inside the room. Are you making me eat again? Don't even dream of it. I'm losing weight and getting beautiful. I'm definitely not eating. Mom's face was grim. She used the spare key to unlock the door. Annie screamed as Mom grabbed her hair and dragged her out. She fell to the floor, dizzy. Before she could react, her limbs were pinned down. She looked at the two people in horror. What are you doing? No one answered. Dad lit a cigarette and asked Mom where Anna's pimple was located. Remember exactly, Mom pointed to Annie's left cheek. This spot cannot be mistaken. What if it's wrong? We have enough to burn it a few more times. Nothing is as important as Anna's future. Two distorted figures held Annie tightly, like hungry demons from hell. A heart-wrenching cry echoed. I touched my face, where the pimple had been. It was now gone. My parents had forgotten an important thing. They didn't realize that Annie wasn't me. She once lived in luxury like a fairy. The feeling of falling from heaven to hell was 1,000 times more bitter than someone who was born and had always lived in the dirt. Being treated so cruelly, of course she would go mad. And once mad, she would surely seek revenge. The bad news about the accident came as I finished filming. I heard Annie ran away from home, and my parents had to search for her and bring her back. On the way home, Annie suddenly lunged forward, grabbing the steering wheel in a fit of madness. The car flipped several times before finally coming to a stop. When I rushed to the hospital, Dad had already passed away. Mom and Annie were still in the operating room, their lives hanging by a thread. I crouched down in front of the operating room door, sobbing uncontrollably in pain. Someone recognized me, took a sneaky photo, and posted it online. The hashtag #FamilyTragedy the popular female star climbed to the top trending topics in just a few hours. My background was completely dug up. My parents, Tan Tao, raised me. My twin sister was kidnapped and only found 5 years later. My mentally ill sister caused an accident, taking my father's life. Netizens competed to comment and send messages, encouraging me to be strong, promising to accompany me through the difficulties. In just one night, I gained 200,000 followers. My mother miraculously survived but fell into a vegetative state. Whether she would wake up or not remained a mystery. Among the three, Annie was still the least injured. A few broken bones. After a few months of recovery, she could walk again. When I entered her room to visit her, she looked like she was having a seizure. Get out now. Are you happy to see me like this? I wore sunglasses, my voice cold, happy, yes. You don't know, when I was in the hospital, I filmed some really dramatic interactive scenes. Annie was startled and grabbed her crutch, intending to throw it. I gently dodged. Heal quickly, little sister. The police are still waiting to talk to you. Stepping out of Annie's room, I went to visit Mom. She lay peacefully, as if in an eternal sleep. I pulled the blanket over her, carefully tucking in the edges. Mom, the glorious days you always dreamed of, let me live them for you, okay? However, she was summoned by the police on suspicion of endangering public safety. During the interrogation, she continuously spoke in incoherent and nonsensical statements. She kept muttering things like Yin-yang twins are the real big stars, and someone wants to harm me. All were meaningless words. After being diagnosed by a doctor, she was officially confirmed to be suffering from a mental disorder. I admitted her to the city's best mental hospital. It had the most modern medical equipment and the most thoughtful care services. The director held my hand and sighed, "You are not only beautiful but also have a heart of gold." I sighed. How so? She's my own sister, after all. The director pulled a notebook from his pocket. I'm your fan, could you sign an autograph? I smiled, took the notebook, and signed my name, Annie. No matter how busy I was filming, every month I made time to visit Mom at the hospital and my sister at the mental institution. That day, in Mom's hospital room, I looked at the news on my phone and chuckled. Look, Mom, I held the phone in front of her. I was voted the most inspiring actress of the year. I'd become the big star you wished for. Are you happy? When I left the hospital room, I wore sunglasses and a baseball cap, completely covering myself, and stepped into the elevator. In the elevator, there was a couple holding two identical children. I smiled and asked, are they twins? The woman happily replied, yes, my two children are twins. The older one is sick, so my husband and I took him to the doctor. I followed the couple out of the hospital. My manager picked me up and drove me to the company. When we stopped at a red light, I saw the same couple being bothered by a Taoist priest on the side of the road. I lowered the car window, turned my head to look, Yin-yang twins again. This old Taoist priest has encountered two pairs of Yin-yang twins in his life, truly a miracle. The woman angrily retorted, get away, we're busy. The Taoist priest grabbed her hand, sacrifice one of these two children, and the other will become a dragon or phoenix in the sky. The woman snatched her hand back, don't talk nonsense. Both of them are the same, they're both my treasures. I don't need them to become dragons or phoenixes, I just need them to be safe and sound. The man shielded his wife and children, warning, get lost. If you don't leave now, I'll call the police. The Taoist priest mumbled as he walked away, Yin and Yang generate each other, one thrives while the other perishes. The Yin fetus is entangled in earthly dust. The Yang fetus ascends to heaven. Ha ha ha. I watched as the couple, holding their children, disappeared around the corner. As my gaze returned, my manager asked kindly, Miss Annie, is something wrong? I shook my head. Nothing. Let's go. The story ends here. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to the channel for more great stories.